everyone. I'm Jim Longworth, and welcome to another edition of Triad Today. Coming up later on, our infamous roundtable gets together. We'll see what's on their collective minds. But first, we have a lot of great guests and information coming your way. We'll meet a fascinating gentleman who happens to be the dean of one of the colleges of arts and sciences at a major university around here. He also produces documentaries. Fascinating guy. Speaking of fascinating, Dave Briggs will be around to tell you what's coming up at the High Point Theater, and we will celebrate women in a very special way with a big event. But speaking of big events and celebrating, we have three great guys with us right now. We're going to celebrate. On my right, my good friend David Daggett, attorney with Daggett Schuler. And next to him, somebody that is a special guest that he and his partner Griff brought along with him. Jay Callahan's first-time visitor to the show, and he's also the new executive director of the Piedmont Down Syndrome Support Network. We welcome you. And anchoring there at the end is Hall of Famer Griff Schuler. We'll explain that to the audience. We want to put that on social media. No, you were a big soccer player in college.
That's right.
And Jay was a big soccer player, and you're an Ironman world-class. You go around the world Ironman, and I pretty much go to Harris Teeter and bag. Now, Jay, I'm going to go to you first, if that's all right. Remind us seriously now what the support network is all about.
So PDSSN is a local organization for supporting members in the community with Down syndrome. So we support members in Winston-Salem, Forsyth County, and also surrounding counties.
You say members. Let me just interrupt for a second because I'm wondering, can you give me a specific example, maybe how you might help parents or family members, the kids? Tell me a little bit about that.
So we have two big events, the Buddy Walk, which we'll speak about, and then the 3-2-1 Deacon Dash for Down syndrome. But then we have kind of behind the scenes things like parent support through Mom's Night Out, Dad's Night Out.
Sure.
We do
sort of help them through the whole thing of especially parents that are new to this.
So a lot of it is the first call for brand new parents.
Absolutely.
Which is very important.
I just think that, Griff, why is this network so important from your perspective?
Well, I think it's a great community that does things both internally and externally. It's great for the families, but also I think what I really love about the Buddy Walk is it reaches out and it brings in the outer community as well. And the Buddy Walk is so exciting because it's not just about the walk, it's a whole day celebration. It's got entertainment there, it's got all the food items that are there, and it's just really a special day that brings in people from the greater community that can come in and enjoy.
And Dave, I know you're excited about this. David, every year you're very involved too.
Yes, so I MC the event. I MC all their events, which is great. Jay's being a little modest. He's hit the ground running. He's been executive director of the Piedmont Down Syndrome Support Network now for 2 months.
Wow.
And he's really put some energy into it. The Buddy Walk and the organization itself, what it focuses on is the inclusion and acceptance of people with Down syndrome and other disabilities and creates awareness in our community for that. So the event is on October 13th.
That's right.
I believe this is the 18th year of the event.
Right.
In the Triad. And as Griff said, lots of festivities. I will tell you, please come out to this event. The Down syndrome community, I call them kids, although some are adults.
That's right.
But even the adults are kids to me, and
right.
you.
Yeah, to me especially.
But they are the happiest group of people you will ever meet, the most loving group of people you will ever meet. I guarantee you cannot keep a dry eye. I wear sunglasses because
I bet
my tears are coming.
Dry eye, but also smiles.
That's right.
A lot of smiles.
Jay, very quick, we have a few seconds left. Do you have to make a donation or is there a fee for this? How is the money raised for Buddy Walk?
So we have teams that each team tries to get as many walkers as they can.
And then that
but
money
you can also donate separately. So the Buddy Walk is there's over 275 Buddy Walks nationally.
Wow. Let's remind everybody then, as
and
David said.
we had over 1,200 people last year.
Well, that's a lot of money you'll bring in.
No, it's terrific.
And Saturday, October 13 on screen, Buddy Walk, 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and meet at West Forsyth High School. The pdssn.org website is up on screen, as is now the DaggettSchulerLaw.com website. Jay, we're so glad to have you at the helm of this.
Thank you very much.
Griff and David, thanks for all your support for this.
Thanks, Jim.
But please join us. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, everybody come out there and you can meet David, and he'll sign his Ironman muscles or something for you. We'll be right back after this. All right, today I'm excited about meeting this gentleman for the first time because he is multi-talented, and my guest is Dr. Darrell Scriven. He is Dean of the College of Arts, Sciences, Business, and Education. Wow, that's a lot of responsibility at Winston-Salem State University. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Good to have you at the program.
Good to be here.
And I see you got the right color tie on there
Yes.
from Winston-Salem State. Now, you oversee a large college within the university. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that. I mean, just in a few seconds, summarize how all those things coming together.
Wow, it's great. So it's 17 different departments, 8 research centers. So it's a large operation. We have 4 faculties: business, education, the arts and humanities faculty, and the sciences. And so we kind of cooperate to do a lot of things together, and it's a good synergy that we have.
Absolutely. Now, what are some of your top priorities for the college at large?
Well, first, accountability. Always want to make sure we do the right things, improve our processes, because again, we have a complex organization, so we want to streamline to make sure that resources are coming in and being used in the best way possible. Secondly, we want to acquire more resources. If you want to do great things for people, got to have resources to do it.
Right.
And thirdly, we want to make an impact in the community. So it's not just on the campus that things are happening, but outside Winston-Salem State, larger community in North Carolina, even
Right.
the nation.
Yeah, and things like the mobile health clinic, it comes to my mind. Some of the folks have been on before, great outreach program into the neighborhoods, and I know you're thinking about a lot of different outreach things and community-based. What any big academic development or initiative coming up that you're excited about?
Yeah, we have a lot of research centers. One, the Center for Study of Economic Mobility just produced a documentary on what people who don't have transportation go through trying to get around, and so it's a big to do at the Forsyth Library. We had hundreds of people come out, collaboration with Wake Forest and a lot of the community partners. So just taking the intellectual activity from the campus into the community where it can make a big impact.
Absolutely. Now, since you mentioned documentaries, we didn't rehearse this, but I want to put you on the spot here. I heard that you produced several documentaries. Is that right?
I have, yes, sir. So a couple of the student loan debt crisis is becoming big in the country. So one on overcoming student loan debt, and one is a little more fun. One on relationships, because a lot of college students, they do a lot of studying, but they need to know about relationships as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think when I was in college, I had too many relationships, and that's why I'm here, flunked out. No, I didn't flunk out. What you once said, I think I saw something that you were quoted as saying that students should trust the process. What did you mean by that?
What I mean is, we come in sometimes and we are uncertain about what's going to happen, or the process that we're undergoing is unfamiliar, but if you just trust it and you trust the people who have gone through that process, you can really come from coal to being a diamond, but the process has have pressure to it, but you have to trust it, and it will give you the outcomes you're looking for.
What attracted you to Winston-Salem State University? You could go anywhere you wanted to. Now you're the dean of the large college within the university. What attracted you here?
I think it's because they were trying to do something new, something bold. I think our new provost says we need bold action. And so they tried to do something where it's very eclectic to see if we can do liberal education at the highest level.
Dr. Graham, great guy.
Absolutely.
And Dr. Robinson doing great work over there too. Now, before we lose time, I want to put up 2 things. One is the website, wssu.edu, wssu.edu. I want you to check out that. Tells you a lot of things you need to know about the university, but also I want to give a little plug in. He didn't ask me to do this. I think it's a website for your documentaries.
Yes, sir.
And your work that you're doing, docscriven.com. Is that your nickname, Doc, or that you do documentaries?
Yeah, that's what my students call me, Doc,
right.
and so it just kind of stuck.
That's right. docscriven.com is up on screen. You came from Texas A&M, and you were also at Purdue. So what would happen if those 2 teams come in to play football against the Rams? I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, house divided can't stand, and so where you eat is where you live, and so WSSU would be what I'd
So
fly.
you won't even speak to the guys at Texas A&M if they come on campus. Is
I
that right?
speak, but I wear my red and white.
I tell you what, this is great. I really appreciate what you're doing and making a mark already there. I'm anxious to go back and look. I think your documentaries are on YouTube. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Very anxious to do that. Dr. Darrell Scriven, thanks for all you do.
Thank you very
All right,
much.
sir.
Thank you for
Will
having
you come
me.
back sometime?
I will.
All right. We'll be right back after this. And Triad Today, I'm really excited about having these two lovely ladies here because they do just great work in the community, and how they get it all done, I don't know, but we're going to find out about this special Women to Women celebration with two very special women. On my immediate right, Yolanda Smith is COO and partner of Walter Latham Entertainment. Those folks do lots of great things with Kings of Comedy and Queens of Comedy in the entertainment business. Next to her is the lovely Tiffany Lamb Balfour. She's financial advisor for Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner, and Smith. But the hats they wear for this segment are as co-chair of the Community Foundation of Greater Greensboro's Women to Women Celebration Luncheon. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Tiffany, let me start with you. What is Women to Women? What's that all about?
Women to Women is Greensboro's first and only permanent grant-making endowment that is exclusively addressing issues faced by women and their families. 4 Greensboro women, Louise Brady, Lisa Bullock, Ann Line Weaver, and Linda Sloan, established the endowment back in 2007 at the Community Foundation of Greater Greensboro. Their goal was to award high-impact grants to organizations producing positive, measurable impact and long-lasting change in our community.
That's just great. Yolanda, tell me about the luncheon. Now we can we'll put up a thing on screen about the dates and everything, but tell me more about the celebration luncheon. You have a keynote speaker. What's going to be going on?
Absolutely. And the celebration luncheon is just that. It is a celebration. It is an opportunity for women to come together and celebrate the great work that women are doing right here in our community. We highlight the nonprofit organizations that are receiving grant support from Women to Women. The News and Record acknowledges and awards their Woman of the Year and their Rising Star Award, and then we have a great lunch and a keynote speaker.
Now, can the public attend this?
Absolutely, we want the public
So it's
to
not
attend.
just member women of the organization?
No,
And are
absolutely
tickets
not.
available to the general public?
Tickets are still
Still
available.
available.
You can go to the Community Foundation's website, cfgg.org, to get tickets. Individual tickets are $55.
All right, and we'll put that up on screen in just a second. I want to put up the website in a second. But Tiffany, let me go back to you before I forget. What's the impact? What's been the impact of Women to Women?
The impact has been great. If you think about the ability of women to affect real change using what Women to Women calls the power of the purse, the impact can be staggering. Over the course of the next decade, women are expected to control over 2/3 of all consumer wealth in the United States. So if we tap into that resource, we can make a big difference by positively impacting the issues, the people, the places that we care about.
Right.
Because women, joining an endeavor like Women to Women, we can lift each other up. We can help each other succeed. We can really make a commitment to social change.
It's a great networking organization, which brings me to another question I want to ask you. How would a young woman or a woman of any age want to get involved with this? Is there a membership thing they fill out, or dues, or what?
Well, you can come down to the Community Foundation and join us. You can join any meeting to hear about what we're doing. You can become a member, either as an individual or a corporation. The different membership levels and pledges, you can see that on the cfgg.org website.
And since you mentioned that, we'll have that up on screen. Women to Women Celebration Luncheon is Monday, October 15th. It's up on screen now, 12 noon to 1:30 p.m. at the Curry Convention Center, right?
Yes.
And www.cfgg.org. A reminder for our radio listening audience, cfgg.org. Check that out. We have just a short amount of time left, and very quickly, I want each of you to answer this for me. Why are you involved in the organization? And I'll start with you, Yolanda.
I was impressed with the fact that women came together, pulled their resources together, their time, their talent, and treasure to make an impact together. That's why I'm involved.
Tiffany.
And we've just had a great track record. If you look at the past 11 years, Women to Women has been able to give over $1 million to 23 different programs that are alleviating issues facing women. So it's just really important work that's being done.
Well, I salute what you're doing. Both of you are very busy during the day with your jobs and the impact you're having that way, and you're having an impact by taking time and sacrificing your time and talents on this, and I appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you.
All right, we want everybody to check that out. Go to the luncheon, October 15th. We'll be right back. I tried today. I always like it when we can get this gentleman to join us, and of course, the special treat is he'll also be on later on in the program on our roundtable. But for now, let's meet him, our good friend Dave Briggs, who is director of the High Point Theater. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Jim.
Before we talk about a few big events coming up, I want to ask you, I always like to sort of throw out a question to you, a theater-oriented question, and see where we go with that. Now, every season you get all these top-notch acts and performers, and there's great concerts, and we know that. So my question is, What process do you use to decide on which performers to get?
Well, that's a great question because we look at a number of different variables to help us choose the artists that we bring in. We do surveys with our audience. Every year I also go to several conferences where artists are showcased. I get to meet with agents. We look at things like Polestar and Celebrity Access and see how these artists are doing in different markets and try to compare markets that are similar to the Triad for the shows and the artists that we're trying to bring in.
Right.
And so that's really sort of how we gauge the level of audience appreciation for the artists we're bringing in.
Sure, and everything seems to be very diverse with you too, and I know that's something that you spend a lot of time putting together.
We do.
And I mean also in terms of gender and age and whatever, you seem to have something for everybody.
We do, thanks. Yeah, we try.
All right, now let's, speaking of top-notch performers that you're able to attract to High Point Theater, let's, and a couple of these we've mentioned before, but I want to go back over this because they're still coming up and I think tickets are still available. I'll ask you about that. Right. Tannehill Weavers on September 28th. Let's remind everybody who and what that is.
Well, Tannehill Weavers are celebrating their 50th anniversary. They are a traditional Scottish band, so it's pipes and accordion and flute and guitar, and they are just remarkable. I was fortunate enough to present these guys about 30 years ago or so, 35 years ago, and they are just amazing. If you like Scottish music, you're going to want to hear the Tannehill Weavers because they are phenomenal, and they're world class.
That sounds great. And how many years ago did you?
About 35.
So you were 8. You were 8.
I was about 8 years old.
Yeah.
And my hair was not this color yet.
All right, Rippingtons. Rippingtons comes up October 27th. What is Rippingtons?
The Rippingtons with Russ Freeman, they are a jazz a collective, and they're amazing musicians, great vocals. They've had a lot of chart-topping hits on the jazz charts, and several that have actually crossed over. Very excited to bring the Rippingtons in. This was sort of an add-on show to our season. We had a group that wanted us to bring these in, and we went out. We were able to secure the contract. Very excited about.
Are these young performers, old performers?
Middle-aged. Yeah, I mean they're. Yeah.
All right, now Aubrey Logan, November the 2nd.
Now Aubrey's a young performer, but she's been around quite a while. She is the queen of sass. She was with Postmodern Jukebox, which plays music that's sort of taken standards, and then really giving them some juice. She also plays trombone.
I was getting ready to say, I thought a picture of her. I saw a picture.
And she's got an amazing voice. But yeah, the picture of her with her trombone, and so she'll be singing a riff, and then the next thing you know, she's wow. And it's very, very cool stuff.
That sounds cool.
Oh, she's neat. She's very cool.
Now, let me go back and cover some ground here before. I want to ask, are tickets still available for all these?
Tickets are still available for all shows, and you can order them at the box office, noon to 5, Monday through Friday. Call our box office. Or you can order them online. If you order them online, you're going to pay a convenience fee.
Right.
But if you call the box office or stop by, there's no convenience fee.
And these are affordable too.
They are very affordable.
I think people will be surprised when they check the website, which is my cue to show the website. And that's High Point Theater. There's 2 T's there, highpointandtheater.com for the radio audience, highpointtheater.com. And the box office number is area code 336-887-3001. And I hope you will check that out and grab some tickets to these big events. I think they look great.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Dave. All right, we'll see you later on the
You got
roundtable.
it.
All right. We'll be right back. Back now on Triad Today. Just about time for the roundtable. I want to give a quick shout out and a plug for an event coming up at my alma mater, UNCG, on September 21st. That's at 8 p.m. Alan Alda, the star of MASH and many other fine movies and everything. You can still get tickets. The information's on screen where you can buy those tickets. You can sign his book afterwards. And I mention that too because I want you to pick up your copy of Yes Weekly. I did an interview with Alan, and that's in here as well, so I hope you'll do that. All right, now to the roundtable. And on my right, but always the political left, Ogie Overman, an award-winning broadcaster and journalist. Next to him, actually 2 gentlemen that you've already seen earlier in the program. David Daggett, attorney with Daggett Schuler, was here earlier talking about the big buddy walk coming up, and he's joining us. And filling in for Keith Granberry is Dave Briggs, director of High Point Theater, who you saw a few minutes ago as well. And Dave, you have to give answers that Keith would give.
I'll do the best I can, but no promises.
All right, now, first question, guys. Last year, the North Carolina legislature decided that the salary of school principals should be based on test scores rather than experience and length of service. Now, some school districts are fighting that rule. Guys, should principals be paid based on experience or test scores? Ogie.
I think that's another in a long line of idiotic decisions by our Republican-led state legislature.
You think
Here's a
they'll change
novel
it?
idea. why not have several criteria, a list of criteria, and let the students be let the students grade the principal whether they have the respect of the kids
But not
or
the
not.
whole, yeah, Dave, you
Not
think they'll
all of
change?
it. But-
In successful private business, we don't do an either or, a binary choice. We do what Ogie does. We have 3 to 5 criteria. You judge the 3 to 5 criteria. Having the students involved is a super idea.
Yeah.
And then in that way, you get a broader based evaluation, and I think you get better results.
Dave Briggs.
Spoken like a lawyer, but I will say this. You have principals going into difficult situations. Their test scores may not be great the first year. It might take them several years to actually bring those
So
up.
even if that counted as one element, like these two guys were saying, it could take it down.
Exactly.
Take them down.
Well, one of the things we have in our school system is we have a couple of schools where the progress scores are real good, but the base evaluation score is not.
Right.
And there's a discrepancy between the two. They're actually doing a good job, but it doesn't show.
Exactly.
All right, in order to uncover alleged voter fraud, I say alleged, ICE has ordered that 44 North Carolina counties turn over their voting records by January. The records would show who voted and which candidates we voted for. Some congressmen are calling for an investigation to stop ICE from doing this. Guys, you okay with the federal immigration agency having your private voting data? Quickly, Ogie.
Of course not. And not only that, alleged voter fraud. Jim, we all know that there is no such thing as voter fraud.
What, did they catch 2 people doing
Out
it
of a billion votes, I mean,
Yeah.
they've got to get over this red herring.
Mr. Baggett.
I agree with Ogie 100%. It's a red herring. It costs a lot of money. It produces very little results. Let's focus our efforts elsewhere.
Dave.
I sort of agree with both of these gentlemen, but frankly, once I go into that booth, they don't need to know what my business is, but I think it could all be, with voter ID cards, it wouldn't be a problem.
All right, a senior White House staffer has caused an uproar by criticizing President Trump in an anonymous editorial that follows on the heels of Bob Woodward's critical book. Now, regardless of your political views, guys, do you think a newspaper should print an anonymous editorial? Forget the politics for a second. Should a newspaper print an anonymous editorial? Ogie?
Typically, no.
'Cause you edited
I have
newspapers.
edited several, and we have always had you got to have your name. But this is such a special case, Jim. The stakes are so high, and the way the Times explained it, that I think it's really justified that the public has a right to know.
David?
Reporters have always relied on confidential, reliable sources. That is actually a legal standard for court, is confidential, reliable source. If this is a confidential, reliable source, I say yes, we allow it.
Dave?
I'm not so sure. I think if somebody's going to put an editorial in the newspaper, that'll put their name on it.
Yeah, I agree.
Whether they're working in the White House or whether they're working in the outhouse,
Sure.
their
Yeah,
name
that's
ought to be
right.
on that.
That's right. And I think that should go to the internet and all this other stuff too. Increasingly, we hear about local, state, and congressional candidates who are deep in personal debt. Now, if someone can't manage his or her own finances, guys, should he or she be eligible to run for an office where they have to manage taxpayer money? It's an age-old debate that's been going on, but it's sort of escalated over the last year or so. Ogie?
Let me answer in an indirect way. If we take this to its logical extension from local to state to federal level, maybe the president should be
now
held
see,
accountable
that's right.
for having been in bankruptcy 6 different times.
Yeah, all right. So David Dagan.
I think it should be taken into consideration. Unfortunately, there were a number of candidates in the last presidential election who've had personal financial problems based on poor judgment.
Right.
If you're going to have that poor judgment will continue. And I don't want them using that poor judgment with my and our money.
And Dave,
I
that
absolutely
happens
agree
on
with-
Dave, that happens on the local and state level too a lot.
Sure.
It does indeed. I absolutely agree with what David just said. You've got to be able to manage your own finances. There's good debt and there's debt and there's bad debt. And which one are they getting into? And are they sucking money off the
You got a
public
car
tip?
loan or something, that's one thing. But if you
Yeah.
know if you owe $100,000 in
Yeah.
credit card debt, then all right. Finally, guys, a woman who was playing a slot machine in a New York casino a couple years ago hit $42 million jackpot. If you recall, the casino told her that the machine had malfunctioned and only gave her a free dinner. Now, the woman has since sued the casino. I think, and David can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's still in court. Guys, who wins this case? And if you won $42 million, would you be satisfied with a free dinner? Ogie?
Well, I want to be a lawyer like David Daggett so that I can get my cut of that $42 million they're going to win.
Dave,
I
quickly.
will bet you there's some fine print somewhere that decides this case.
I bet so too, but I suspect her suit really should be against the manufacturer of the machine.
Yeah, but we don't even think it malfunctioned. You don't know. All right, but Judge Daggett says, you know.
Read the fine print.
Yeah, that's
fine
right,
print.
guys. Thank you. That's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. After a sighting of Bigfoot, the town of Marion, North Carolina, has made the elusive creature the official animal of Marion. Said one scientist, "I'm not so confused about the existence of Bigfoot as I am why anyone would want to be seen in Marion."
Oh gosh.
Well, I'm not. That's not a slam against. That's what he
no way,
said.
that's
I
not
didn't say
at
that.
all.
That's what the scientist
Not
said.
at all.
For all of us here, wherever we are, we'll see you next week.